Hello everybody, this is John. Welcome to the NCGA Valent Ag Weather Outlook, March 25th, 2017. Look at this, April's right around the corner here. Well, for the most part, snow's gone. I'm going to show you some snow lingering in far North Dakota, but I won't be talking too much more about snow for the rest of the season. I think the biggest thing on my mind right now is the need for a soaking rain in some spots and even maintaining our rain in other spots. The upper Midwest has generally been quiet. The action has been to the south, but severe weather season should be increasing from the south central U.S. and spreading up more into the Midwest as we get into April. Now, precipitation over the last 7 days, we had some needed rain over northern Missouri, but everywhere else, look at this, real scattered. Really, the green is the more significant. That's a ½ inch. And if we really want the soaking rain, we got to get into the darker green. So it's really sort of hit or miss. Overall, I would call this a pretty quiet week over the middle part of the nation. So we look at departures one way or the other, yellow being below normal, green being above, not a whole lot. So it was overall a fairly quiet week. Now there's always a day or so delay here, but this is generally giving us the picture as far as areas that have been unusually dry or quiet or unusually wet. Unusually dry would be in brown, and usually wet would be more towards the blue. Take a look at this here. And you've probably heard of the fire situation over this area here. Look how dry it's been. We've had 0 days in the last 30 days in these darker areas of brown. So keep in mind that needs additional rainfall. Now here's that snow I talked about. If you happen to be in this area, you have still quite a bit of snow on the ground. It's sort of sunk now this time of year, sublimation. What we have here is we have still as much as 4 inches liquid equivalent. So that's going to melt from a climatological standpoint, and even the forecast for above normal temperatures, that's going to probably melt quite a bit this week. Now, temperatures over the last week were above normal. Remember my last briefing last weekend, I talked about that ridge of high pressure, and that's where the above normal temperatures would be. And you can really see where that ridge was, right through here. So Texas, Oklahoma, and that very hot temperatures and dry weather, that's that fire risk. Then as we went to the east, it modified a bit, and actually we averaged below normal over the eastern Corn Belt. Now, I said in my opening comments that dry weather is on my mind. I don't like to fall too far behind. You know, as we go into summer, if we have too much rain, I know that causes problems. Can't get into the fields, they get soggy. But you know, as we get into that that hot time of the year, I'd rather have a little bit starting off with too much moisture in the ground than not enough. So I really would like to see more precipitation over Missouri, southern Illinois, southern Indiana, Kansas, parts of Nebraska, this area here, the southern tier of the Corn Belt, that's where I would like to see some more precipitation. Now, if I look between mid-March and mid-April, the areas of green show where we have, from a climatological perspective, an uptick of rain. So we should be seeing additional rain over this area compared between mid-March and mid-April. Tell you the truth, I'm not seeing it in this area, and that has me somewhat concerned at this time. Not overly concerned, but that is something of interest. Now, I know many of you farm along the Mississippi River Delta. I wanted to show you here that the current and forecast anomalies are the shading of the river, and I see a lot of red. That's indicating rivers are below normal. We have some tributaries running high. Those are the yellow dots. But overall, this is a very quiet pattern. This year, it does not look like there's going to be any significant problem as far as significant flooding along the middle Mississippi and pretty much the entire Mississippi drainage, as well as the Ohio and most of the Missouri. So the jet stream this week, we see that ridge begins to break down, but we still have the jet stream above, further north than normal. I mentioned also last week about this split flow setting up for this time, this period here, this second week. And here's that split flow. And we have a split flow. We have energy in this southern branch that ejects out and can give us a pretty good chance of rain along the path of that jet. So what we have this week are the first 5 days of this week is well above normal temperatures. And we have a pretty good chance of rain. Now, a lot of this is going to be coming out on the days 4 and 5, so it's out there a ways. This will change, but this is that southern branch of the jet stream right through here, and that's going to be quite active. Now, as we go further north, it's going to drop off. So the upper Midwest, not much precipitation at all, and that might be good for North Dakota as we melt that precipitation or that snow pack right here, that we don't get additional rain on that. Now, this isn't, it could be better, but it's not bad. We are going to get some much needed rain. It's going to be great for Oklahoma. It's very dry. It's going to be pretty good for Kansas. It's going to be decent for Missouri and then in this area. So it's not going to be a tremendous amount of rain, but it could be a couple inches of rain in here and maybe even more if we're lucky. If we're not lucky, it'd be a little bit less. We might not get as much. So it's not real clear, but we do have a prospect with this system right here towards the early and middle part of next week to get some additional rain. There'll be rain before that as well. So hopefully between 2 or 3 chances of rain, we will get some needed inch or so of precipitation. Now we get into the 6 to 10 day range. The ridge continues to break down, and actually we get some signs of a little bit of a trough. So these mild temperatures are not necessarily going to last over most of the area. I think as we get into that 6 to 10 day range, we're going to go back to normal as far as temperatures go. One exception could be the upper Midwest, North Dakota, parts of South Dakota, and Minnesota. Then as we get into the 11 to 15 day range, not much change. Look at this here. We get a dip in the jet stream in this region. Where is that ridge of high pressure? Well, it's retreated off to the west. It's not as strong, but we have quite a change here. And we're going back to generally normal temperatures over the central and eastern Corn Belt, maybe even a tad below normal, and then above normal, modestly above normal in the west. So as far as temperatures go, the first 5 days unusually mild, but then as we get into April, it looks like we're going to at least start off the first week of April with most areas fairly close to normal temperatures, could be a little bit above normal or a little bit below normal. So precipitation, here's week 1, that southwest jet stream. This is what I was saying. We're looking at drier conditions. We're looking at negative precipitation anomalies, less precipitation than normal, but then in the area of green, including some areas that really need it right in here above normal. Week 2, precipitation anomalies, again in the upper Midwest, it looks dry. I don't see much wet, and this is just sort of thinking here is I would like to see some more predictable, steady, week-to-week rain. Remember that image I showed you from mid-March to mid-April? We should be seeing that uptick. We're not. Whether that's a big concern right now, not, but I would sure like to see some more rain. Now we're looking at 2 weeks in this area in here with really below normal and right on the fringe right in here. Now the southern tier of the U.S. looks like Texas and Oklahoma could be another week of some needed precipitation. Here's weeks 3 and 4. Take it with a grain of salt. This is way out there. I would say right now I wouldn't put too much into this increase of wet conditions at this time. So anyway, the trends in today's briefing, mild temperatures starting out, but then it looks like we're going to be trending back towards normal as we get past later this week. That system moves through. Some rain, 2 or 3 chances of rain, maybe some beneficial rain in spots. But most of the action, it looks like, as we get into early April, is going to be south of the primary Corn Belt. And I think parts of the Corn Belt are still going to be more trending towards the dry side than the wet for the next couple weeks. Hope you all have a great week. I hope you're getting a lot of stuff done as we get near the start of the growing season over the primary Corn Belt. If you have any specific questions, you have my email. I do hear from you from time to time. I don't mind at all answering any specific questions. Just send me an email and I'll get back with you and answer that. Have a great week.